I will ask the first question, and I'm going to ask it to Keith Desormeaux. Keith, you talked all week about the young 3-year-olds who can mature from week to week, race to race, and you said that might be the difference between winning today and not, and it looked like that was a good read on your part. When Kent's bringing him home to the wire, what's going through your mind?
Well, what you said, I think that's part of the equation, but the most important thing is this horse's, I've repeated this for 2 weeks, his ability to recover from his efforts. And he recovered from the Derby quickly. Even today, his first comment when he pulled up here at the Winter Circle was that, Keith, he's cooled out already. And the horse had, his heart rate was down again. His respiratory rate was almost to normal, and you could see a real calm look in his eyes. Most horses, when they run that huge effort, they're bug-eyed and rattled and sweated up even. He was totally calm, so it's partly due because he gets over this track in like a duck to water, for lack of a better cliche. But that's the main reason, his ability to recover.
Let's open it up to the media here, down here. A question for Kent. Kent, just take us through the race if you could.
He broke very well again, and I didn't think that the rest of the field left the gates like the Kentucky Derby. In fact, no one was actually hissing at their horses, or we actually kiss at them. So I gave him 2 or 3 more jumps of, bounding forward. I noticed that everybody in front of me was, instead of moving towards the fence, moving out. So I made a 90-degree turn to get to the fence. Tried to put him in maybe the 2 paths, not be right on top of the fence, and had an absolute dream ride. I was able to let him just inch forward and let him just gain to the leaders slowly and quietly. We got to the 3.5 and the rail was still wide open, but I thought it was way too soon. The horse is way too fast. If I would have punched, he'd probably open up 3 and maybe not make it to the wire. So from the 3/8 of the quarter pole, I was actually slowing him down, asking him to wait. And he just blew up and felt like King Kong. And when I pitched him out, he did what he can do. He exploded. And then I thought, well, since I'm clear, I might as well throw some mud in their face and not let them come back. And I let him drift over in front of Nyquist and hopefully finish the job, and he did.
The question for both Keith and Kent from Childs Walker, the son, is: was there any brotherly love after the race? Did you share a moment or two before we saw you?
We had an embrace up there, but brotherly love, I don't know. Is it different than any other kind of love? You don't need to when you know you have that type of love, you don't need to show it outwardly. We know what we have.
Kent, you want to respond to that?
Well, just to reiterate, we should thank our parents because we have been raised to love each other dearly. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and I got a fist pump. That was all we did.
That's it in a nutshell. Racing, this is the only time when we're part of mainstream media. It's called an American classic for a reason. Those are some strong words. So to finally get to win one, it's kind of hard to describe now, but it sure is. What I'm feeling now is just an awesome confirmation of a lifetime of dedicating myself to finding and getting the best out of a horse. And also huge gratification to the man that entrusted me with that confidence, Matt Bryan.
Tim, do you have a question, Tim?
Yeah. I wanted to strangle him when I saw him go to the rail. I was like, damn, he didn't ride a race today. This is the only race he rode today, and I was like, all these other jockeys realize that it's a quagmire down on the rail, and I'm like, what's he doing? But
welcome to my house.
That's exactly right. That's why I can be so calm before a race, because all the pressure's off of me, and this is why he's in the Hall of Fame, those kind of decisions.
repeat that, please? The question again from Tim Layden of Sports Illustrated to Keith was, as he got further on into the race.
So you're talking about post-strangulation. Then I started worrying, why in the world is he so close to the lead, approaching the far turn? We're already 3 or 4 lengths off, and I'm like, I looked over at my girlfriend and said, I hope he's not asking him to be there. In other words, I hope the horse has done all of this on his own. And obviously he had, because when Kent really asked him to run, he had plenty left.
You won the Preakness before a couple of times. What does this mean?
It definitely is just an inward feeling of contention. That simple.
Did you truly believe that if you kept taking shots at Nyquist, you'd beat him?
That sounds more like we would eventually grind him down. I never felt that. I always felt that we had an exceptional talent in Exaggerator. And Sol Cumin and Windstar realized that too. One before the Santa Anita Derby and one after. But it's an exceptional talent that we have in Exaggerator, not somebody that needs to grind down his opponent, and you saw that today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for Keith, how much did the track play into the whole?
The question for both Kent and Keith: how much did the track play into today's race?
You can't deny it. We can't deny what's happening here. These are 2 huge races on-off tracks. The one at Santa Anita Derby, I tried to play down because it was just a meltdown pace in front of us. Today, the pace was acceptable, and he still ran huge. So you have to think that the track means a lot to his performances, but his fast track performances are not bad either.
Well, I want to make it clear that, yeah, you can give a lot of creed to the mud, but I also know the body blow he took in San Felipe. I know of the air brakes I had to put on in the 3/8 at the 3/8 pole in the Kentucky Derby, and I also know that for better terms, I walked the track with Exaggerator warming up. I went from the 8-hole to the 2-hole, right on top of the fence, 2 or 3 times, checking out where the best path was, and I thought it was the 2 path. So, you know, those other horses fought and battled for 6 wide when I didn't have anything but a dream ride. And if they're going to give Exaggerator that, I think on any track, he would beat them all.
Yeah, Charles.
Yeah, and this is for both Desormeaux. Is there a special resonance in winning a huge race here because you guys both had sort of apprentice experiences here?
The question for Keith and Kent: does this mean anything special since you guys basically cut your teeth here in Maryland racing 25 years ago?
I think for me, yeah, that's going to sink in along with the brotherly love thing a little later when you have time to reflect. But now that you say that, it's pretty cool. This is where I had my first job on the racetrack with a guy named Tommy Cavendish, and on the great Charlie Hadry after him. So yeah, to start here and to win a classic here is it's a little what's the word? Not coincidental, but special.
For me, I cut my teeth to the industry here. The owners and trainers absolutely put me on a pedestal, and I hope they're all very proud that they're not wrong about what they gave me, because this is where I belong, riding classics. I love it, and I was so very comfortable going around the racetrack.
I am going to ask if there's any questions. Well, the question for Keith is your plans now. Are you going to go back home first before you go, and then to the Belmont? Do you plan on hoping to take on Nyquist again in the next couple of weeks?
Exaggerator has the best groom in the world who traveled with him. Victor Vargas is here. I've got the best girlfriend and assistant trainer over here, Julie Clark. She's here. Petey, his gallop boy, is getting on him every day, and they're ready to roll. They're not going back to California. They'll just hit the road, go north. We'll settle in at Belmont, and we can't wait to run in that race.
Well, until we get another question from upstairs, I will ask your owner, Matt Bryan. Matt, your thoughts as you cross the finish line today, and you are a owner of a classic champion.
Well, first of all, I'll just say thanks to Saul and Ronnie and the families here that are all here, and Keith and Kent. I'll tell you one thing, that these boys right here are awesome. They're raised by good mama and daddy, so that's the first thing. And we're very blessed, so we're just excited and blessed to be here. Thank the good Lord above for this good fortune that we've had. But the one thing that I will say that I'm probably the proudest of is to win this with these two and with them to win it is amazingly special for us as owners. I mean, to have two Desormeaux do this, I don't know if it's ever been done before, but you know what, it hadn't been done in a long time. So if it has, that's great, but if it hasn't, you know what, we made history today, so that's unbelievable. Second of all, we got second in the Derby. You know, we got second in the Derby, and I'll tell you one thing. For a bunch of guys from Texas and one Boston guy down here, we had to put one Yankee in this organization. A bunch of Southern boys, but let me tell you, we're sure proud to be part of this. We're blessed to have Keith Desormeaux picking out these horses. You know, the O'Neill team talked about Dennis O'Neill, but let me tell you, it starts with Keith Desormeaux. The ride is by Keith Desormeaux, but I'm going to tell you right now, Keith Desormeaux, I'll put you right now, we will put him in the Hall of Fame if I have him.
I told you you'd
Good move, brother. That was a good move. Tough to top that. Anybody want to try? Yes. I will ask your owner, Matt Bryan. Matt, your thoughts as you cross the finish line today, and you are a owner of a classic champion.
Well, first of all, I'll just say thanks to Saul and Ronnie and the families here that are all here, and Keith and Kent. I'll tell you one thing, that these boys right here are awesome. They're raised by good mama and daddy, so that's the first thing. And we're very blessed, so we're just excited and blessed to be here. Thank the good Lord above for this good fortune that we've had. But the one thing that I will say that I'm probably the proudest of is to win this with these two and with them to win it is amazingly special for us as owners. I mean, to have two Desormeaux do this, I don't know if it's ever been done before, but you know what, it hadn't been done in a long time. So if it has, that's great, but if it hasn't, you know what, we made history today, so that's unbelievable. Second of all, we got second in the Derby. You know, we got second in the Derby, and I'll tell you one thing. For a bunch of guys from Texas and one Boston guy down here, we had to put one Yankee in this organization. A bunch of Southern boys, but let me tell you, we're sure proud to be part of this. We're blessed to have Keith Desormeaux picking out these horses. You know, the O'Neill team talked about Dennis O'Neill, but let me tell you, it starts with Keith Desormeaux. The ride is by Keith Desormeaux, but I'm going to tell you right now, Keith Desormeaux, I'll put you right now, we will put him in the Hall of Fame if I have him.
I told you you'd
Good move, brother. That was a good move. Tough to top that. Anybody want to try? Yes.
My family and I, we got in horse racing 4 years ago. My wife Wendy, Taylor, and Logan, my daughters right here. And we got in horse racing 4 years ago. Keith Desormeaux picked a horse, first horse as a 2-year-old called I've Struck a Nerve. Won the Risen Star 135-1. You could have peeled me off the winner's circle that day too. So that was the highlight at that time. But coming along, Ronnie came along and he said, hey, I want to buy into some horses. You've had some good luck, and he's a good friend of mine and customer. And so I go back up to his office and say, hey, we bought these 10 yearlings right here. Which ones do you want? He said, hell, I'm 65 years old. I want half of all of them. And I said, well, okay, but Keith's going to own some of them too. So Keith's a part owner of Exaggerator. I'm an owner Exaggerator. Ronnie's an owner Exaggerator. Saul's owner Exaggerator. Saul came in later on this year. And again, we run this like a business, and we're very fortunate, but we're not a bunch of billionaires just throwing a bunch of money around, but we sure are proud of where we are and grateful. But that's how we kind of got started. And in 4 years, I can't believe we're sitting here in front of the Preakness right here where Carlin won his race. He won his the Preakness. We won the Preakness, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that's awesome. Exaggerator right here. That's named for that girl right there, Taylor Bryan, and, and Julie Clark, and there's some other.
Taylor named the horse?
No, it's named after her.
Oh, okay. Anyone else?
Can you explain that story?
The question back to Matt, can you explain that story if you'd like to?
Oh, you know what? We're already in trouble tonight, so well, you know, us boys, we like to, down in the South, we tell little fish stories, but those girls like to exaggerate a little bit, so we named one Exaggerator for us, our girls right there, so.
Anyone else down here? Anyone else upstairs? You don't hear anything, do you? I guess that does it.